the virus hidden inside your DNA. Have you ever stopped to think about what you're actually made of? Not the philosophical stuff, not the spiritual stuff. I mean the physical, biological, genetic reality of your body. The actual code that makes you who you are. The instruction manual for your existence. The blueprint that was written over millions of years, edited by evolution, and rewritten by forces you never even knew existed. Here's the answer that will change how you see yourself forever. Research suggests that about 8% of your DNA is viral in origin. That's right. Nearly 1/10 of your genetic code didn't come from your ancestors. It didn't come from evolution in the traditional sense. It came from viruses, tiny, invisible invaders that inserted themselves into the genomes of our ancient ancestors and never left. But wait, it gets weirder. Studies indicate that another 40% of your DNA is made up of repetitive strings of genetic letters that are also thought to have a viral origin. That means nearly half of your entire genetic code started out as an infection. Half of what makes you human was once something that was trying to infect, replicate, and destroy your ancestors. Let that sink in for a moment. You are not just human. You are a walking museum of ancient viral infections, a graveyard of prehistoric plagues, a living record of every battle your ancestors fought against invisible enemies. Every war, every pandemic, every microscopic invasion that your lineage survived is written into your genes. You are the product of millions of years of biological warfare. And some of those viruses, they are not as dead as we thought. The enemy within. This story starts with a discovery that shook biology to its core. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, scientists were studying chickens. They were looking at the genetic material of healthy, normal chickens, birds that had never been exposed to any known virus. And they found something that seemed impossible. They found viral DNA in their genomes. Not just fragments, complete, functional viral genes. Genes that could, in theory, produce infectious viruses. The scientific community was stunned. How could a virus become part of an animal's genetic code? How could something that was supposed to be an external invader, something that was supposed to be a parasite, become part of the host's very identity? How could a virus go from being an enemy to being a permanent resident? The answer was retroviruses. Retroviruses are a special kind of virus. Unlike most viruses, which just use your cells as factories to make more viruses, and then burst out to infect other cells. Retroviruses do something far more sinister. They insert their genetic code directly into your DNA. They become part of you. They don't just hijack your cellular machinery. They rewrite your genetic code. The most famous retrovirus is HIV. When HIV infects someone, it uses an enzyme to copy its RNA into DNA, and then inserts that DNA into the host cell's genome. That's why HIV is so hard to cure. It doesn't just float around in your bloodstream. It hides inside your cells, integrating itself into your very DNA, waiting to emerge again. It becomes part of you in a way that most viruses don't. But HIV is actually a newcomer, a recent addition to the retrovirus family. The real story goes back much, much further, millions of years before HIV even existed. Retroviruses were infecting our primate ancestors. They were inserting their genetic code into the genomes of ancient apes and monkeys. And some of those insertions became permanent. Here's the crucial part. Some of these infections happened in the right place at the right time. Specifically, they happened in sperm or egg cells. When a virus infects a regular body cell, that's the end of the story. When that cell dies, the virus dies with it. It's a dead end. But when a virus infects a sperm or egg cell, that's permanent. The infected cell becomes part of the reproductive line. It becomes an embryo. Every single cell in that embryo inherits the viral DNA. And when that embryo grows up and has children, it passes the viral DNA on to them. And their children pass it on. And their children's children. The virus had become part of the host's genetic inheritance. It was no longer an invader. It was now a permanent resident, a passenger, a stowaway in the genome, the 100,000 ghosts. Researchers have now identified over 100,000 pieces of retrovirus DNA in the human genome. That's not a typo. 100,000. These are called human endogenous retroviruses, or HERV for short. They are the ghosts of ancient infections, the fossils of plagues that swept through our ancestors millions of years ago. Each one is a fragment of history. Each one is a remnant of an ancient infection that happened at some point in the distant past. Some of them are still relatively intact, They still have recognizable viral genes. They still carry the genetic code that once allowed them to infect cells and replicate. Others are just fragments, bits and pieces that have been scrambled by millions of years of mutations. They're like ancient ruins, broken and weathered, but still recognizable as the remains of something that was once alive and dangerous. The most recent of these infections happened about 6 million years ago, around the time our ancestors split from chimpanzees. That virus, called K111, infected the germline of our ancestors and has been hiding in our DNA ever since. It's been passed down through millions of generations, surviving the rise and fall of species, surviving ice ages and droughts and extinctions. Here's the really fascinating part. When researchers first looked for K111 in the human genome, they couldn't find it. It had been hiding in one of the most difficult places to sequence, the centromere. That's the center of the chromosome, a region that's full of repetitive DNA that's incredibly hard to map. It's like trying to find a specific sentence in a book where every page has the same paragraph repeated over and over. The centromere is what geneticists call a genomic Bermuda Triangle. Things go in, but they are nearly impossible to find. But eventually, scientists did find it. Using advanced sequencing techniques and computational analysis, they managed to map the centromere and locate K111. And when they did, they realized something extraordinary. K111 wasn't just in one place. It had copied itself over and over again. It was scattered across 15 different chromosomes. It had been replicating itself within our genome for millions of years. Studies suggest that K111 has been slowly copying itself within our genome for the past 6 million years. And remarkably, the data indicates that in the last 800,000 years, the pace of this copying has increased dramatically. That means some of these ancient viruses are still active. They're still moving around. They're still copying themselves. They're not completely dead. They are just dormant, waiting, the zombie virus. But that's not the only virus hiding in our DNA. There's also K222, a virus that evidence suggests infected our ancestors about 25 million years ago. K222 exists as a single copy in the genomes of baboons and other high-order primates. But in modern humans, studies indicate it spread across the paracentromeres of 9 different chromosomes. It has been amplified during human evolution. It has multiplied. It has spread. And here's the most disturbing part. Some of these viruses are still intact enough to be infectious. In 2016, researchers published a study describing a nearly complete virus living in human DNA called XQ21.33, located on the X chromosome. This virus has mutated so little since it infected our ancestors that the research suggests it could theoretically still produce infectious particles if it were turned back on. The genes are still there. The code is still there. The potential is still there. Let me say that again. There are viruses in your DNA that could still be infectious if they woke up. They're not fully awake. Our bodies have mechanisms to keep them silenced. Chemical markers, called methylation, keep the viral genes locked away. Proteins like TDP43 bind to the viral RNA and prevent it from being translated into proteins. Our immune system keeps a constant watch, ready to attack any viral protein that might escape. But the fact that they are there at all is unsettling. And sometimes, those silencing mechanisms fail. The shadow infections. When these viral fossils get reactivated, the evidence suggests that bad things can happen. Multiple sclerosis, ALS, schizophrenia, some cancers. These diseases have all been linked to the reactivation of ancient viral DNA. Here's the theory that researchers are exploring. These viruses are dormant. They've been silenced by mutations and by our immune system, but environmental factors can wake them up. Inflammation, other infections, drugs, even stress. When they wake up, they start producing viral proteins, and those proteins can trigger autoimmune attacks on our own bodies. The immune system, which evolved to fight viruses, becomes confused. It attacks the viral proteins, but in doing so, it also attacks our own cells. In multiple sclerosis, for example, the immune system attacks myelin, the fatty coating that protects nerve cells. Studies have shown that levels of HERV RNA and protein are increased in the brains and spinal fluid of MS sufferers. The viral proteins are so similar to myelin proteins that the immune system gets confused. It attacks the virus, and in doing so, it destroys the protective coating of our own nerve cells. The result is the characteristic damage of MS. Lesions on the brain and spinal cord, loss of motor function, progressive disability. In ALS, a protein called TDP43 normally keeps these viral genes silenced. But in ALS patients, TDP43 malfunctions. It forms toxic clumps in neurons, and it can no longer hold back the viral genes. The jumping genes, as they're called, start moving around. They start causing damage. The evidence suggests that this viral reactivation contributes to the progressive death of motor neurons that characterizes ALS. Some researchers believe that neutralizing these viral proteins could be a new treatment for these devastating diseases. Clinical trials are already underway. An antibody called temolizumab, which targets a HERV protein, has been tested in relapsing MS patients. The early results are promising. If it works, it would prove that these ancient viruses are not just evolutionary relics. They're active participants in human disease. They're not just fossils. They are living, active threats, the survivors. But here's the weirdest part of all. Not all of these viruses are bad. The research suggests that some of them actually help us. Some of them have been domesticated. They've been co-opted by our bodies for useful functions. They've gone from being parasites to being partners. About 40% of your genome is made up of retrotransposons, repetitive strings of genetic material that are thought to have viral origins. Some of these sequences have been co-opted by evolution. They are no longer harmful. They are essential. One of the most important examples is the placenta. In mammals, the placenta is formed by the fusion of cells, a process called syncytiotrophoblast formation. It turns out that this process is driven by a viral protein. Specifically, a protein called syncytin, which comes from a retrovirus that infected our ancestors millions of years ago. The virus provided a gene that allowed cells to fuse together. Evolution took that gene and put it to work building the placenta. Without that ancient virus, you wouldn't have a placenta. Without a placenta, you wouldn't have been born. The same virus that caused disease in our ancestors now enables the existence of all placental mammals, including us. It's a parasite that became a partner, an enemy that became a friend. The same thing has happened with other viral genes. Some have been repurposed to fight other viruses. Some have been repurposed to regulate gene expression. Some have been repurposed to build tissues. The ancient viral DNA in our genomes is not just junk. It's a toolbox, a resource that evolution can use to build new functions. This is the paradox of the virus inside us. It's both a threat and a gift. It's both the enemy and the savior. It's a remnant of ancient battles and a foundation of modern life. It's a legacy of war and a legacy of cooperation, all wrapped up in the same genetic code. The endless war. The virus hidden inside your DNA is a testament to an ongoing conflict that has been running for millions of years. It's a war between viruses and hosts, a war that has shaped the evolution of every living thing on Earth. Viruses have been infecting life for billions of years. They've been inserting themselves into genomes for just as long, and we've been fighting back. We've evolved immune systems to detect and destroy viruses. We've evolved mechanisms to silence viral genes. We've evolved ways to co-opt viral genes for our own benefit. But the viruses fight back too. They evolve to escape our immune systems. They evolve to evade our silencing mechanisms. They evolve to replicate themselves faster and more efficiently. It's a never-ending arms race. A battle that has been running for eons and will continue running for eons to come. Every time a virus infects a host, there's a chance that it will become part of the host's genome. Every time a virus becomes part of a host's genome, there's a chance that it will be domesticated. Every time a virus is domesticated, there's a chance that it will become essential. And every time a virus is essential, there's a chance that it will become dangerous again. That's the story of the virus hidden inside your DNA. It's a story of war and peace, of infection and cooperation, of death and life, the humbling truth. So what does all of this mean for you? What does it mean to know that half of your genetic code came from infections? What does it mean to know that your genome is a museum of ancient plagues? What does it mean to know that you are a walking, breathing archive of viral evolution? It means you are more than just human. You are a tapestry of millions of years of evolution. You are the product of battles your ancestors fought against viruses. You are the result of a long, slow process of coevolution between two very different kinds of life. You are a hybrid, a blend of human and viral DNA. It means you are not separate from the viral world. You are part of it, You carry viruses in your genes. You carry their legacy in your cells. You carry their potential in your DNA. It means you are a work in progress, an ongoing experiment. The experiment is still being written. Every generation, new viruses infect new hosts. Some of those infections will become permanent. Some of those permanent infections will become useful. Some of those useful infections will become essential. And some of those essential infections will become dangerous again. You are not the final product of evolution. You are a snapshot, a moment in time, a single frame in a movie that has been running for billions of years and will continue running for billions of years more. And that, I think, is the most humbling thing of all, because it means that we are not the masters of our own biology. We are not the kings of our own genome. We are not the gods of our own destiny. We are part of something bigger, something older, something more complex than we can ever fully understand. The final perspective. The next time you think about what makes you human, remember this. You're not just human. You're also a little bit virus, a little bit invader, a little bit enemy, and a little bit savior, all wrapped up in a single, improbable, beautiful, terrifying package. Every cell in your body contains the ghosts of ancient infections. Every chromosome carries the fossils of prehistoric plagues. Every gene tells a story of war and peace, of death and life, of infection and cooperation. You are a museum, a library, an archive. You are the product of millions of years of evolution, shaped by forces you never knew existed. You are the result of battles your ancestors fought against invisible enemies. You are the legacy of viruses that infected your ancestors and never left. And that, I think, is the most beautiful thing of all, because it means that you are connected to everything that has ever lived. You are connected to the viruses that infected your ancestors. You are connected to the hosts that fought those viruses. You are connected to the evolution that shaped both. You are part of a single, unbroken chain of life that stretches back billions of years. So embrace the virus inside you. Embrace the invader. Embrace the enemy. Embrace the savior. Embrace the paradox. Because that's what makes you human. That's what makes you alive. That's what makes you you. You are not just human. You are the product of everything that ever lived. And everything that ever lived is part of you.